about the overall view of the fan base and how it bounces back and forth and it goes in these different directions. And I know you've been hearing it since the fight with Dustin Poirier. You brought it up. People saying that you bend the rules in fights, that you cheat a little bit in there. And Patty was asked about it during the London Q&A, and he did an interview with the great John Anik, and he was asked about comments that Dustin made, and Patty blames the referee for not doing his job, also saying that if you try any kind of fish hook like move, he's going to try to bite your fingers off, all this stuff. How do you react to those comments? And also just this notion that, hey, that Michael Chandler guy, he cheats in his fights.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative is tough, man. People don't really know me. Like, unless you're in my inner circle, you don't know who I truly am outside of in front of the camera. People have their sneaky suspicions that I'm I play nice in front of the camera and I'm a bad guy behind the camera. You're always going to have those accusations, right? But I know who I am, and I know who I am at my core. I'm a guy who tries to do things right, tries to treat people right, do things with honor and respect. So the cheating narrative is a little tough for me, but also it's all part of the court of public opinion, man. Did I grab Dustin Poirier's mouthpiece? Yes, I did, because I thought it was his chin. I've already addressed that one. Things happen in a fight. Are you going to reach over and grab the cage? Are you going to, get your fingers in the glove? Yeah, those things are going to happen in a fight. In the last fight, Charles Oliveira dug his chin so deep into my eye socket that I thought I was going to go blind, which is illegal. It's an eye gouge, right? He was grabbing my gloves when he was trying to choke me. Like there was these things happen when you're inside of the cage. I would never say that Charles Oliveira is a cheater. His body is reacting and doing things without his brain's permission. All right, you're in fight or flight. Things happen. So it's a tough narrative. With that being said, I also respect Patty for not making a big deal out of it. I mean, I think it's a sign of weakness when you start talking about a guy cheating. The most interesting one to me was Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje's a savage and calling me a cheater. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like it's a little bit of a sign of weakness. But either way, things happen in there. Fans aren't gonna like everything that you do. Fans aren't gonna like you 90% of the time anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So we'll just leave it at that. I am doing exactly what I feel necessary in the fight. The referee, if they tell me to stop, I'm going to stop. There's a lot of things that you do inside the octagon that you're doing, you don't even really realize you're doing, and it's the ref's job to tell you. So we'll see how these next couple fights play out.
I appreciate you talking about that, and we'll move on. I'm curious.
It's a tough scenario, right? Because you're also talking to people who have never done it, before, and you're like, well, hey, think back to the next time that you did something and you didn't really realize that you did it. Now, put someone within your vicinity who's trying to beat you to death, with a million people screaming, it's interesting, man. But I obviously try to live with honor and integrity, but things happen in there.
He is in the news. He recently said he's got to run for office in Ireland, says he's happy with what he's done in combat sports. He is focused on Ireland now. But then he's kind of said, look, the offer has to be the right offer, and I'll try to do both. And I know you're tuned into everything. You see the clips and things, I'm sure, on social media. How did you interpret those comments? Did you hear, yeah, he's never fighting again? Or maybe? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's definitely the closest comments that we've ever heard to Conor maybe talking about retiring, when it comes to I'm happy with what I've done in the sport, right? But with that being said, Conor's also talking about running for president of Ireland. Conor's also got a record label. Conor also just launched a cigar company. Conor does a lot of things that make sense but don't make sense. Is he doing things just as a publicity stunt? I mean, I tell you what, if I run for the president of the United States, I'm probably not going to win, but it sure would make me even more of a celebrity, right? So you never quite know what Conor is doing and what he's thinking. You never know if it's a negotiation tactic. You never know if it's smoke and mirrors. All I know is, as you can see by the way I am operating, fighting Charles Oliveira in November and now Patty in April, I'm getting back to the Michael Chandler of old. I weighed in 6 times, 6 training camps, 5 fights in 26 months, my first 26 months in the UFC. I'm a very active guy. I like to stay active. I'm getting back to active, being an active fighter. And if Conor comes back, when Conor comes back, his road back to the UFC goes through me, so we can finish the Ultimate Fighter 31. But until he actually does come back, until my phone says Dana White or Hunter Campbell and I pick it up and they say, hey, We're finally booking this fight. Until that happens, I'm going to keep fighting other people. I'm going to stay active, and I'm going to steal the show in whatever arena I am in around the country.
So when you say you get names, you're going to cut a promo, is Conor going to be one of those names?
He probably shouldn't be, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You got to have the tape. You got to have the tape and the mic moments to be able to stitch them all together to build a fight later on down the line. So all the naysayers can be even more mad at me if the fight actually does happen. But with that being said, man, no, I mean, I think there's some more realistic, more immediate fights that could come to fruition when it comes to Holloway, a rematch with Gaethje, Topuria, some of these big fights that are probably a lot more realistic, later this summer, fall, winter. Conor may not come back till January 26th. Who knows? Or at some point in 26. So we'll see.
How would you match up the top of this division right now? I mean, you and or Patty can throw a monkey wrench into all of this, but short-term booking right now, who gets the title shot? How do you sort of create the roadmap to the top?
If Islam stays, let's just say the world is that Islam stays at 155 for the rest of his career. I think the biggest fight that they can make is Topuria versus Islam, champ versus champ, even though Topuria is not the champ, because he vacated. That's the biggest fight that they can make. Does Topuria deserve it more than Oliveira, Gaethje? No, but I think it's the biggest fight that they can make. I would love to see Gaethje get the next title shot, man. I feel like I was gutted for him after he put his number one ranking on the line to fight Max for the BMF belt, took a risk and then lost the fight. But obviously now he's come back with a win. I'm not sure what you do with Hooker, not sure what you do with Arman. I think Arman's kind of at the bottom of the list, even though he's ranked the highest. You pull out of a fight 24 hours before because of some back pain. That's a little tough. You got to be reliable. The UFC is running $1 billion business, and they don't need you at any given moment. They can replace you at any given moment. So Arman's going to need to come back and get a win. I think I go out there and make a statement against Patty. I continue to throw my name into that mix. I think Islam versus any of those names I just mentioned is a big fight, but I think I am a very intriguing matchup for Islam when it comes to American wrestling versus Dagestani Sambo. But we'll see what happens, man. I don't know if that really answered your question when it comes to the actual matchmaking, but there's almost too many names, and there's almost too many names and too many matches to make that, because they all make sense, man. Every single one of them could be a main event on a pay-per-view. That's the crazy thing about it.